Hey guys, today we're going to talk about parallel and perpendicular lines. Our learning targets are I will identify parallel and perpendicular slopes, and I can determine if two lines are parallel or perpendicular. So, lines with the same slopes are parallel. The symbol is two lines next to each other like that. Lines with negative reciprocal slopes are perpendicular, and the symbol looks like that. There you go. All right, so let's look at some examples. So what does it mean to be a negative reciprocal? So that means to change the sign and flip the fraction. So instead of 3/4, we're going to have 4/3, and it's going to be the opposite sign, so we're going to make it negative. When you have a whole number like that, remember the whole number is understood to be over 1. So when we flip it, it's going to turn into 1/2, and we're going to change the sign. 7/8 is going to turn into 8/7. And since it started negative, when we flip the sign, it's just going to be positive. Number 4, we have another whole number, so remember that's understood to be over 1. And so when we flip it, it's still 1/1, and we're going to switch the sign to make it negative. So really, negative 1/1 is just -1. So 1, the number 1, and -1 are negative reciprocals of each other. Okay, so when something has a slope of 1 and something has a slope of -1, they are negative reciprocals and they are perpendicular. Okay? Here, when something has a slope of 0, we drew slope man. I don't know if you remember slope man. This has positive slope. This has a negative slope. And then when something has a vertical slope like that, it's undefined, so that's his little nose. And the U under it helps you remember undefined. When his mouth is straight across and it has little zeros at the end for his cheeks, to remember that that's a slope of 0. So slope of 0 is a horizontal line. So the opposite, or the perpendicular line to that, is a vertical line. And that is undefined. All right, it has an undefined slope. So 0, a slope of 0 and a slope of undefined are the negative reciprocals of each other. Because really, this is 0/1. And this would be 1/0, or -1/0. And you can't have a 0 in the bottom of a fraction. That's undefined. So that's how that comes. But this is a horizontal line, and this would be a vertical line. All right, so really when you're going to need to do this is when you're given points. So we're going to find the slope of the line AB and then the slope of the line CD and see what kind of lines we have. So remember that the slope formula is y2 minus y1 over x2 minus x1. And this is one of those formulas you'll always be given. So you don't have to memorize it really, but it's one of those that you use so much you'll probably remember it anyway. All right, so we're going to go ahead and assign our little points. So AB, so A is x1, y1. And for point B, this is going to be x2, y2. So we'll put y's on top. So 6, we'll do 6 minus 3 on top. And then 2 minus -2. Oops. Put another little negative in there. Let me start over. 6 minus 3 on top. 2 minus -2 on the bottom. And if you use your fraction button on your calculator, it will actually do all the work for you. So 6 minus 3 is 3. 2 minus -2 is +4. So you'll have, this is going to be 3/4, and it'll be positive. So your slope for this one is going to be 3/4. I'm going to switch colors here so you can see a little bit better. So then we're going to do CD. So this is x1, y1, x2, y2. So we're going to do on top, we're going to do 3 minus 0. On the bottom, we're going to do 3 minus -1. So on the top, we're going to have 3. On the bottom, we're going to have 4, so the slope for this one is also 3/4. So this is going to give us a parallel line right? Or the symbol is the two little L's, okay? Or the two lines next to each other. I just remember as L's in parallel, and that's how I remember the symbol. Okay, so here we're gonna do AB again. So this is gonna be X1, Y1, X2, Y2. And so on top, we're gonna have 4 minus 2. On the bottom, we're gonna have 5 minus 0. So this is gonna be 2 over 5. And then on the other set, we're gonna have X1, Y1, X2, Y2. And so on the top, we're gonna have 3 minus 8, and then 3 minus 1 on the bottom. So this is gonna be negative 5 over 2. So you can see that we flipped our fraction and we changed the signs. So these are gonna be perpendicular, oops, which apparently I can't spell, so I'm just gonna put a symbol. All right, and then the last one, X1, Y1, X2, Y2. And you should really write your letters so you can tell the difference between X and Y. So 6 minus 8 on top, 2 minus negative 1 on the bottom. That's going to give us negative 2 on top and 3 on the bottom. And then we're going to do X1, Y1, X2, Y2. So 3 minus 2 over 3 minus negative 1. That's going to give us 1 over 4. So that is neither. Alrighty. And then here, this is just looking at the equation. Remember in an equation that whatever's right in front of the x, the equation is y equals mx plus b. The m is your slope. So if I look at the m's here, they're the same. So these are parallel. This one, y equals negative 7, that is a horizontal line like this. X equals 2 is going to be a perpendicular or a vertical line. So those are perpendicular. Oh my goodness, which I still can't spell. Or you can just put the symbol. All right, and then here we have the slope is negative 3 over 2 and 2/3. So this is also going to be perpendicular. You guys aren't going to have to do this much. This is why I'm not going over it very much. The one you're going to have to do is the one where you have to calculate the slope. So I'm not too stressed about whether or not you recognize this. I just wanted to make sure it's kind of in your brain somewhere. So that's all. If you have any questions, make sure you let me know.